Well, a major milestone for a beloved EWTN broadcaster at her radio show. Today, Catholic Connection, hosted by Teresa Tomeo, celebrates 20 years of hitting the airwaves. The daily live call-in program touches on social issues and news throughout the Catholic community and is broadcast on over 500 radio stations worldwide and has been a staple on EWTN for 15 years. And Teresa joins us now. Teresa, great to see you, my friend, and happy anniversary to you, 20 years. Well, that is such an accomplishment. Take us back to when it all started in 2002. What inspired you to start the show?
Well, really, I was invited to start the show actually by Tom Monahan, the original founder of Ave Maria Radio, and of course, the former owner of Domino's Pizza, who is now a full-time philanthropist working with Ave Maria University. I knew him when I was in the secular media because he was involved in not only Domino's Pizza, but the Detroit Tigers, so I would cover him quite frequently. And we got to know each other, and we were both coming back to the church at the same time. And when Ave Maria Radio started up, Al Presta and I had met through another channel, through a Christian media group. And so those two things were kind of converging at the same time, and it was really interesting. And so Ave Maria Radio was beginning. I was leaving the secular media, and I was, back at the church at that time. And Al called me up and said that we've been on the air a few years and we're looking for a morning show. What do you think? And I'll never forget it. We talked about this last night. We had a little private party to celebrate the 20 years on Ave and 15 on EWTN. And I can remember my general manager, Mike Jones, and I down in the cafeteria down the hall from the studios. And he said, well, what do you think you want to call this show? And I said, well, because we're trying to connect with the community, and my name is Teresa Tomeo, I like the alliteration. What about Catholic Connection with Teresa Tomeo? And it's hard to believe, Tracy, that today, 20 years ago, the show went on the air. I never would have imagined the experience and the exposure I've had to so many amazing people who do incredible interviews, and just to bring the truth and the beauty of the Catholic faith to everyone every single day. It started out as an hour program, and as you know, it's now 2 hours. We have the first hour that broadcasts mainly in the Michigan and Northern Ohio area. And then, as you said, the second hour, which is broadcast on EWTN at 9 o'clock Eastern on EWTN Global Radio. It's just been an incredible experience, and I hope, God willing, I can do it for as long as he wants me to and as long as he allows me. I love it.
Well, we love it, and we hope you do too. Another thing that we love is the show's Fact Check Friday segment, and it really is a fan favorite. It's a great way to cut through the truth on a lot of news headlines. Tell us more about that, Teresa, and why, that's important to you as well.
I actually started this during the 2016 election, Fact Check Friday, because you and I know, being in the secular media, what's happened, unfortunately, to the industry that we grew up in, Tracy. It's changed so much. And unfortunately, as I say in many of my books, the media have lost their soul for the sake of agenda and profit. I was getting so frustrated with the way various issues and various candidates are being presented. So I just started to say, okay, let's look at the facts, what's really happening there. And I would break down the story, and I still try to do this every Friday, as you mentioned. Okay, how does this work? What are the media doing here? To help people understand, as Archbishop Chaput always says, we need to know how the media work so they don't work on us. And so to help people understand the phrasing, the certain ways they use words about people in the pro-life movement or the Catholic Church, that story you just had on earlier with Sean Carney, I think is a good example. So to get into the mindset of the media and how they're presenting it, to make sure you're understanding how you are being, in many ways, oftentimes gaslit or brainwashed. So it's really, really important. And I get a lot of great feedback on that. And certainly, unfortunately, I have a lot of material to work with because of the way the media are approaching particular stories. But I think it's important to help our listeners and viewers, because everybody's busy and everybody may not know the subtleties and the way that stories are written. Even looking at the AP style book, which, as you know, as a longtime news person, is something that's in every single newsroom, on every reporter's desk. Mm-hmm. And the way the AP now refers to certain people, such as pro-lifers, or even the issue regarding gender ideology, it's not balanced. It's all about agenda and putting a particular idea in people's minds. So this is why I try to do that every Friday and kind of break things down for people.
Yeah, and it's so important, too, and you have such a great voice for that. I'm wondering, as you look back over the 20 years with the program, which guests and maybe episodes stand out the most to you, Teresa?
I was thinking about that when your wonderful producer asked me to kind of pray about that today. And for me, I really believe it's the testimonies of people coming into or coming back to the church, and the way And I'm just going to throw, just going to give kudos to EWTN and all of our radio affiliates, because we never know when people are listening or watching, and someone will maybe turn on the TV, hit the scan button. I know Mother Angelica has many stories like that, where someone will do the same when they're in the car or looking for something online, and they'll come across one of our radio affiliates, and just hearing something about the faith, or hearing something that triggers maybe a child memory and their lives being changed, or the great pro-life conversions, the pro-life OBGYNs I've interviewed over the years, many of whom were former abortionists. So those kinds of stories of women who are giving their testimonies more and more about being post-abortive. I can't nail down one interview, but I think the personal testimonies, I think everyone has a testimony. You can't have a testimony unless you've been tested. And I think when we're real with ourselves, and we're real with each other, and we're real with God, that makes a huge difference. I know they've affected me over the years.
Yeah, well said. Well, Teresa, thank you so much for all that you do for your program, and thanks for taking the time to speak with us. Again, congratulations on 20 years. That is just incredible.
It is. It's a gift from God. So thank you, Tracy, for all you do. And to all the viewers and listeners, thank you for supporting us at EWTN.